I know everybody's probably had a really long day today. It's been really great to see all these sessions. I'm excited to be here in this last session that we're having today. I feel like I'm in the headlining spot closing down the event, so thank you. I'm just gonna make sure my speaker notes. Okay, so here's me. My name's Joyce. I'm Manager of Digital Communications at McGill University. I know there's a few people here that have worked on our sites before. We have a very large multi-site installation, about 1,000 websites. We have about 1,500 active site managers. And our system, the WMS, which again I know a couple of you have, or a few of you have worked on, is a combined, I think, effort or project of our communications team working with our development team. And that's kind of what my project or my presentation is about today. Here we decided to call it Come Together, and it's about a collaboration, a design and development collaboration between communications, marketing, and development. But what we usually call this presentation is Shake Hands with the Developer, which I don't know if anybody recognizes that, but it is a reference to kind of a little bit more of a sinister aspect maybe of this relationship. So here's what our design and development collaboration looks like today. Well, right now when we shake hands, we're shaking hands this way, but hopefully we'll go back to shaking hands the real way. So it's a bit of a primer, and it's a real quick one because normally we do this as a big 45-minute presentation, and I'm going to kind of shove it into 10 minutes today. But usually we go through in a little bit more detail what our past experiences have been like, and they've been challenging and difficult, and how we've come through them to begin to work more positively together. So here's a look at our past. We've come through some very difficult moments, and I think through the different projects that we've worked on where we developed a very challenging, I think, dynamic between our two teams, we were able to recognize that there was some specific issues that were occurring that were causing us to have this difficulty in communicating. And that's that we didn't have shared work processes or methodologies, and we had no defined shared goals and objectives, and our roles and responsibilities weren't well defined, and we also weren't presenting a unified front. In fact, we were presenting a front that maybe looked a little something like this picture here, where we were telling our clients who we were supporting, and these are 1,500 people across McGill who build websites, that we had almost two different service models that we were trying to help people build websites with. So a few things happened that allowed us to kind of turn things around and make it possible for us to have more of a healthy working relationship together. And by the way, I'm mentioning that this is structured in the way of a conversation about marketing and communications, working with developers, but I think it can apply to any two teams that are working together or that should be working together that haven't been working together in a healthy way. So what allowed us to kind of turn things around was we got some messaging from our executive, and I think that's really important, to start working cross-departmentally more often, to have more cross-departmental collaborations. We also had some new directorship come on board. I think that was a big factor as well. And we had an openness to working with a third-party facilitator. And I know there's folks in this room that play that role as a third party that come in and help organizations. So that's something that you can lend to I think, these challenging moments when you come into the companies that you work with, that you can have this kind of moderating external point of view. And then we had, I think, goals to establish a shared work strategy together, which is also another thing that was really important to us. And we defined a shared web governance network. So that was also something that was key. And to kind of set the framework to how this happened, what I think inspired this moment to take place was we reached a point in our relationship where it was so bad we were talking about dividing our network of 1,000 websites into two groups, where we would have had half our websites managed in communications and marketing, and the other half managed by our development team. And that, as you can imagine, would have been a really inefficient doubling of our infrastructure, our support services, and our platform, which was definitely not a place we wanted to go. So this was like the darkest moment, and then we turned it all around with these projects. So I'm just going to quickly touch on some of these projects that helped us turn this all around. Normally I do this as a 45-minute presentation, so if I start going over, maybe you can let me know. So this is our turnaround project. We had this idea that we were going to revamp our Drupal-powered system that we call our WMS, our web management system. But revamping this system also gave us the opportunity to revamp everything surrounding it. So our services, our methodologies, our processes, and our working relationship. So this was, I think, a key part of allowing us to redefine our shared goals. So a key part of this coming out of this discussion was our ability to have these shared work processes, and also to outline our goals and objectives as a unified team. And what came out of that, part of that project, was we did a redesign of the homepage together. As the communications and marketing team, we did a lot of the research and the UX design and the design that came out of the exercises that we conducted, and we collaborated very closely with the developers to be able to take the takeaways that we had gathered and to put them into action when we were developing our tool. So here's some pictures actually of us working together as a team. We had a third-party moderator come in and do some user journey mapping exercises with us, where we were looking at what kind of journey do our users take as they go through a specific process. And we were looking at the prospective student process. So we were looking at what happens when students are investigating options, when they apply, when they accept, and when they finally come to McGill, and all the digital touch points that they have in that process, and what was occurring at each of those steps. So were they having challenges? Were there ways that we could make improvements? So we did this research, and then we looked at, okay, how can we take those takeaways and apply them to making improvements in our websites and our web systems. So harmonizing work methodologies was a big part of this, and doing the shared user journey mapping exercise was one of those opportunities for us to establish these work processes. So that was a good project to work on. Another one that we had was our digital standards project. I've done some presentations on this in the past. So in a large institution environment, we had thousands, well, it feels like thousands of requirements and policies and government policies that we have to align with. And prior to us creating our digital standards, all of those policies and best practices were displayed in an organized way across multiple websites. Some of the information was in people's heads, it was in PDFs. None of it was collected into a shared resource. And we took some time to have conversations with people across campus who manage these processes and distill all that information down to a nice, succinct list of 9 points. In doing that, we as a team, as a unified team, also identified, okay, these as a group, as our two teams working together, these are the things that define what makes a good website to us. So that was a really important step for us to take, is to make sure that we have an understanding of what are the things we are trying to achieve and who is responsible for making those actions come to fruition. Yes? 1 minute. Okay, let me wrap up. So here's a list of the lessons that we learned. I got through part of them. So again, this is the first time I tried a 10-minute version of the speech. You can probably find it online on other sites or other event sites. So you need to establish shared work processes, and this will provide the structure needed for you to work through challenges. You need to harmonize your methodologies to improve your product delivery. Having shared goals and objectives will help you ensure that your efforts are focused and aligned. Documenting roles and responsibilities is going to help you provide clarity both for your teams and the people you support. And presenting a unified front is very key to making this successful in the way you support your audiences. So here's some tools that we use, Jira and Confluence, and we use these not just with our development team, but also our communications and marketing team, so everybody's using Jira and Confluence. We also use GitLab, and Mattermost is our chat tool that both our teams use together. And then we use Envision and Sketch for our design creation and our design sprints. So again, having shared tools, if you're going to have shared processes and methodologies, if you don't have shared tools, then you can't have a consistent I think, process across your team. So here's the end goal. We're running off into the sunset, happy teams. And this is actually the in real world version of the previous picture. It's our two teams together, working together and happy. So thank you.